Hello, VC. Welcome. Welcome, YouTube folks out there. Thanks for tuning in. I've had to listen to some of these records I just purchased. If you haven't watched the unboxing video, I just got some records in the other day, and I've been doing quite a bit of listening because some of these titles that we're going to talk about tonight, it's basically the analog versus digital. You know, we're not done with that yet. Because before the old analog versus digital was, I've got a record and you got a CD, and I think my record sounds better than your CD. Oh no, it doesn't. You're dragging a rock through a piece of plastic. How can it sound better than my high-tech zeros and ones? Yeah, we've had them arguments forever. Well, now it's progressing to, I guess records. They finally realize records are good. So what have we got now? We got digital records. Because digital is better. Yeah. They won't leave us alone. They're just going to keep messing with us. We like records because they sound better. Analog is better to us because you know what? This brain of mine is analog. There's a lot of stuff going on in the analog world. Frequencies go way up there. Now, I can't maybe hear them, but you know what? I can sense them. There's low frequencies I can sense, and there's high frequencies I can sense. And they get put on the record. They don't get put on these vinyl, the digital, because they got brick wall filters, and just the way that it's done, they don't get all of the music on that digital. But you know what? It's getting a lot better. And there's a lot of folks that, they like some of these digital records. So I bought a couple to see, this is what's out there now. If you want to get the Eagles reissues, this is what you're going to get. And it was remastered by Bertie Grunman at Grunman Mastering himself. He's one of the masters. And they pressed it at the factory, the music factory in the Netherlands. And that used to be an old plant, used to be an old CBS Records plant. Sony bought it in the late 80s. And one of the fellows that worked there, he was saying that when Sony come in, they're a Japanese company, and the Japanese are very meticulous about how they make their records. There's a lot of care in there. That's why they sound so good. And he said they made a lot of improvements in the pressing plant, and a lot of upgrades. And now in the later 90s, that's when music on vinyl, MOV, they bought them. And if you've got any of those MOV titles, all the ones I bought, they sound really good. I kept the MOV reissue and replaced it with what I had. Sometimes they were just a domestic copy, but other times it might have been a UK press that I traded in versus the MOV. So they do make good records. And this record is made well. The vinyl is top grade. The pressings are quiet. The pressings are from a digital file. Now, why are they making digital records? They want to cry about, the tapes are damaged. They're too weak. We can't let you have the tape because you're gonna, destroy it and they'll never last. It's funny, when they wanted to redo the Door stuff, that's what they cried for years. You can't have the tapes because they're gonna fall apart. Well, you know what? When Quality Records wrote them a big check, they said, yeah, that's not a problem. You can have the tapes. And look at the records that they made. Wow. When you get that when you're dedicated to making quality and you're not going to make anything unless you can get that original tape, that's the kind of stuff you can do. How about all the CCR stuff? That stuff's going back into the 60s. Those tapes are okay. How come the Eagles from 1979, the tape's no good? Baloney on all that. It's about the money. These people here that making this stuff, they think digital records are okay. That's why they're making them. They're not okay. Now, this record, it's a good sounding record. Don't get me wrong. It's got a lot of really good qualities to it. But it's all about what you compare it to, right? What did I compare it to? I compared it to a Japanese first edition, Japanese first pressing. Now, this record, the reissue, the 2050, it's thin. It's got a thin cover. It's not a nice thick cover like this. Comes in a nice inner sleeve, and you get this is the inner sleeve, that reissue inner sleeve, which is nice. Cover's not really that thick, but the pressing, the vinyl's nice, quiet, good quality, 180 gram press. That part's done nicely. The remastering was done as well as it could be using a digital file, because the soundstage on a lot of those digital records is just compressed right into the middle. This actually, you have a soundstage. You're getting stuff that's going out beyond the speakers. You have a lot of that. So that part, that's all done really nice. But now, the music. When the bass drum's kicking on this record, on the Japanese pressing, it's fuller. There's more weight to it. It's bigger bottom end to it. You know, this one, it's a little thinner. The cymbals, you can hear more definition on the cymbals, and on the harmonics between the instruments, there's more of that. There's more inner detail. But you got to listen for it. And it's not really that hard to hear if you're listening for that kind of thing. So this is still the best record out there. You know, my channel's not about what's records sound good. It's about what's the best record out there. What's the best sounding version out there now. The Japanese is the best sounding version. Does that mean this record's not any good? No. It's still a good sounding record. But you can hear that digital into it. Now, I bought it, and it cost me $22 on sale. They're listing for $24.99. So for $24.99 for a digital record, when if you want one of these in near mint condition with the OB strip and the whole 9 yards, they're going to be about $25. Maybe you can get it for less, but you're going to have to pay shipping, but you're going to have to get that. This one you're going to have to pay shipping as well, but most likely you won't have to buy it out of Japan, or if you buy it from one of the big music retailers, you know, you don't have to pay shipping. If you buy enough, you get free shipping. That's the difference. It's all about how bad you want it, right? Now, we move on to the Rush record. Again, it's the same thing. Oh, we couldn't get the tapes were all damaged and they're all nasty. Yeah. Well, this is 81 or something. The tapes are no good, but the Doors tapes, we got those. And how about they're doing all the Yes stuff at 45 RPM and half-speed mastering? That Yes stuff is 10 years or more older than this, but those tapes are okay. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, they just want to make. They mastered them in Abbey Road Studios. Why? The Abbey Road Studio. What do? They're digital. All the records they make over there, they're making digital records. This is a Canadian first edition that I have on the Anthem label, and look at that big thick inner sleeve that they put out for a first edition record like that. And now these, they're pressed at Quality Records pressings, mastered at Abbey Road Studios. Quality Records, when they're putting their name on it, you know that you didn't have the Quality Records sticker or nothing on this. They use only the finest mastering studios like Sterling Sound. They don't use Abbey Road Studios. No. When you get a Quality Records pressing, you don't get a download card with their records. Well, how come you don't get a download card? Well, because it's not a digital record. They don't do any kind of digital. They're into analog. Well, the records sound unbelievably great, too. Now, this digital record that was mastered at Abbey Road, Preston, in Kansas. What it has in it, they have a quality, a lot of slam, a lot of drive, a lot of impact. They really hit. The striking of the instruments, the impact of the bass, all that stuff is in spades on this stuff. That's what they really do well. I had my son come up, he's 18, and I wanted his impression of the records. You know, he's got pretty well brand new ears compared to mine. I don't want people saying, "Oh, you're old, you can't hear anything." You know what I have? I have what's called an educated ear. And I've always had an ear for that. You know, I've started to sell stereo equipment when I was 19 years old. Because I've got an ear for it, so to speak. A lot of people don't care. That's basically the way I look at it. I do care about how it sounds. That's why I got an ear for it, because I care. It makes a difference to me. The digital record, again, the bass is thin. Now this record, you know how Geddy's voice, it's really up there, it's high. And the top end, it has that CD quality to it, you know, where there's a lot of harshness to the highs. Not that they're overly harsh, but you can hear that over brightness to the highs. And that's what's fatiguing about a lot of that stuff. That's what I don't like about the digital. Whereas the analog press, the original Anthem Canadian pressing that I have, it doesn't have that in. The bass is rounder, it's fuller. Vic Geddy's voice is clearer. The cymbals come through a little clearer. It doesn't have that digital kind of sound to it. And I like this sounding better. My son now, he liked the digital record. He thought that impact, that stuff, he liked that. I think this has got just as much of that on it. You don't notice it as much because but that's what happened. So now the next record I want to talk a little bit about that I have up here is this Judas Priest record. And y'all know how MOFI, the best thing the MOFI does is these covers. You know, if Friday Music could just get their act together and put a cover like this, what MOFI does, and put their record inside of this type of thing, wow, we would have a product. But what we have is, we have the MOFI with a great cover, nice inner sleeves. You've even got a nice little inner sleeve protector, all that stuff. You know, we've gone through this. If it's your first time, I'm going to show you what the MOFIs are like. This is what they excel at. They do a really good job of packaging. Okay, but they've got this silver label. And the thing about the silver label is that a lot of the records that I want, they're on that silver label. And so I bought a few in the past, and I haven't liked any of them. But I came across this Japanese first edition. Yeah, look at that label. That is the CBS Sony label from '78. That's right at the end of that when they were using that type of label, '78. Now, you play this record, and they have a quality to them. They're very, very quiet. Great vibe. Press it RTI. They do a super job. And it's got just a luxury kind of a sound. It just sounds really luxurious. I don't know, that's the best way to put it. They have a sound, that quality to it with their mastered. But here's the problem. Here's the problem I got with these MOFIs now, these silver labels. You know, MOFI, and I've been doing this for over 40 years. To me, MOFI means half-speed mastered from the original master tape. That's what MOFI stands for. No, not anymore. We're going to put Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab on here, but we're going to find a tape or a CD copy or whatever it is, we don't really care. We just find in whatever we can find, because apparently we can't get the original master tape. We can get a copy, or my friends got a tape of this, and we're going to make a record out of it. And they sound like crap. Okay? This Japanese press that I've got, it sounds like a half-speed master compared to this thing. These silver labels, if you like great packaging, buy it, but don't buy it because you think the record's going to sound good. I had another person, a subscriber, say that he just bought his first MOFI. He bought a silver label, and he didn't think it was very good. See, that's the problem that I have with MOFI doing this, is they're taking that name and they're running it through the mud. A lot of people that don't know any difference, they heard about mobile fidelity. Oh, I'm going to get one MOFI. And they buy their first one, and they're not really that impressed with mobile fidelity, because their MOFI is making junky records like this. Don't do this. Don't, So everybody's supposed to know about what they're doing. Do they put a sticker on there? It's not from the original master tape. We're using the 3rd generation tape, and we're doing the best we can. Is that what's on here? No. Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab. That's what's on here. That aggravates me. They're using that name to sell a bunch of records, and they're not cheap. And they're making bad records, as far as I'm concerned. Because that half-speed, that one, it's not half-speed master, that Japanese record, but it's unbelievable. It sounds unbelievable. Now, I wanted to say something else before I go here. A little story. I had a subscriber say, "Hey Ron, you've been collecting records for 40 years. You must have a lot of funny stories, a lot of bloopers and things that happened in your days of collecting. I'd love you to put a little video together about that." And I'm thinking, I don't really have any stories or bloopers. I gotta have some, but just making a list of it, I can't really. But when I came across this record, I thought about something, and it's probably something we've all done in record collecting. It kind of goes, well, I had just got married, and this record came out, and my son-in-law, he was younger than me. He was about 17, and him and his buddy and my father-in-law had just bought a new cassette play recorder and a new amp and a new turntable and that, and they were recording all their records on cassette. And so him and his buddy had gone out and they got George Thorogood and Destroyers, and they bought this Rush record, and they taped it, and they said, "Hey Ron, you want to buy these records?" I said, "Well, sure. What do you want for them? They're cheap to give them." I said, "Wow, that's great." And they're laughing like, "You suckers buying their records. We got them taped. We can go buy more records now and tape them." You know what? Yeah, I still got the record. Where's that tape of yours? Yeah. So it kind of just reminds me that I did kind of the same thing when I was that age. I had bought this record when I was 17. And this is Alex Harvey framed. And I bought it on the Vertigo Swirl. I even had it didn't come in Canada with the swirl bag, but now the one I got a swirl bag. I got the swirl record. I had that, and I also bought this Uriah Heep, The Magician's Birthday. They both came out in '72, and they had it was brand new. So I took them down to the stereo swap shop, and I said, "Yeah, I'm going to trade those in because I'll record them on my reel-to-reel, and then I was thinking the same thing. I'll be buying records and taping them, trading them in, getting more records, and I can have all this music on tape." Well, when I took that record down to that guy, and he saw that swirl, he about had a fit. Man, he wanted that so bad. He wasn't letting on to me about what an idiot I was trading that in. Yeah. So I've never done that again. I did it once. I did it. I traded those 2 records in, and I've never done it again. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.